Alright, today we have an Acer Supra for you. This is a 3-axis automatic. This is a 14 by 28 automatic down feed machine. Currently running, the hydraulics are on, the grinding wheel is running. This is a 14-inch diameter grinding wheel with an over-the-wheel dresser and a diamond that you can feed down. This is currently wired for 230 volts, 3-phase. And it has its own external chuck controller. This is a Walker Smart B chuck controller, very nice chuck controller. And this is an OS Walker LBP fine division magnetic chuck. So this is a really fine chuck if you're doing small work. It's really good at clamping down on small pieces. So in the mode we have it right now, okay, we also have a coolant system, which consists of the trough that will connect up with the other hose that goes on the back. This is an automatic advance for the paper. The paper will float through and come out in this bucket here. And also it has a magnetic separator for taking the metallic material out of your grinding coolant. Over here is a lock for the saddle. And this is your calibrated scale for your the travel of the saddle, of the CROSSFEED. So everything can be worked by hand. If you wanted to move this table by hand, you can. If you wanted to move this in and out by hand, you can. And same with the vertical up and down. It's a lot easier to use the machine though. So in the manual modes, there's a couple of modes here, 4 modes, manual plunge and manual surface, and auto plunge and auto surface. So if I'm in auto surface, it will allow me to move my cross slide around. Well, that comes in and out as I push the button. And it will also allow me to go down with the wheel or up. So you can use these functions to actually do a little bit of grinding. You can also jog the wheel down slowly. And then you've got a couple of buttons here to start your hydraulics and start your spindle. Now, added to the machine after it was purchased by the last owner, they put a Baldor variable speed drive on the grinding wheel motor. So now you can go at different RPMs for whatever reason. It's very easy to disconnect it if you didn't want to use it. It's actually very simple to take the unit right off the machine. This big box over here on the side is your hydraulic power unit. So we got a couple of different modes here. If I go into my automatic surface mode and press my cycle start button, we're going to start feeding down here with this hand wheel. Each time the saddle reverses. Now the saddle reverses when it gets to the switches on the side. And when it gets there, it's going to feed down a certain amount that you set up here in your little program. You have you tell it basically how much material you're going to take off, not the exact amount, but a range. And then you tell it its changeover point from a coarse, a rough grinding feed to a fine grinding. So, and then you have a spark out. And at the end of the cycle, the wheel will back up, and you can adjust that with this here. And there's a graphics that shows you all this while it's going on. That's pretty much all this is. This is not a push button. It does nothing really. It's all in your settings here. And like a Chevalier or other types of machines, it all works on the handle getting down to 0. So you have a dial here that you can set after you touch off your part by hand, and you can set this dial to how many thousandths you want to be taking off that part, so that when it gets to the 0 on here, the down feed stops and you go into a spark out cycle. So when I start this cycle here, we're going to start to move our saddle now. And the saddle's going to go back and forth. And I can adjust how much that goes back and each step with this potentiometer up here on the operator's panel. So each time that feeds, we should see our hand wheel feed down certain amount, it's going to happen again. So I actually have this far to go right now. It's going to take a while. It's quicker if we do a plunge grind, but you get the idea. So that's feeding down very little at a time, which is really what you want. And that's going to work its way down to 0. And we'll feed again, and I'm going to stop it. Okay, so now I'm going to stop that cycle, and as soon as I do, the saddle stops moving. I'm going to put it in the plunge mode, because the plunge mode is going to go a lot faster. Then I'm going to start my cycle again. And now after each pass of the table, you're going to see that we feed here. So now we're doing what they call a plunge or slot grinding. Oh, it's going to get to 0 right here and stop. It's going to do X amount of passes back and forth, and then it's going to back up, and the machine shuts off. Grinding wheel shuts off, the hydraulics shut off, and that's the end of the cycle. So that's pretty much everything. Again, this is the Supra, Acer Supra 14x28 automatic down feed surface grinder. Thank you very much.